want to hear clearly. Some advice that you needed dearly. Don't waver, build your stacks up here.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Distinctive Agent Show. I am Todd Conklin, and I am here with my partner in crime, Keenan the Kid, better known as the Rapping Realtor.
What
Welcome,
up?
Keenan.
What up? And we got a special guest. So today we're going to be really talking about the market and kind of what's going on and deep dive into some stats and all that. And we brought in the commercial real estate expert, the legend, Brandon Schuette. What up, Brandon? Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Looking forward to the talk.
Yeah, and you guys can tell, right? So it's unfair odds, right? There are two Gen Xers on the phone call today, on the podcast today, and we're going to kick the kid's booty
Good
today.
luck.
But I do want to point out, I did wear a jacket today, and that's honestly because of Brandon. I mean, it's, the commercial side of the world is so much more.
I figured residential, I better dress down a little bit so I can blend in. Right.
You dressed down, I dressed up. So here we are.
And
then
I'm just me.
Keenan.
I'm just wearing a t-shirt.
Those damn millennials. Jeez, dude. Like, what do you do? You do. Hey, guys, we got the timing could not have been better. Like, this is an incredible news cycle rich week of stuff going on. I mean, we are hearing about layoffs in the real estate industry. We're hearing about like cratering transaction volumes and cratering stock values, all these quote unquote disruptors just getting their booties handed to them. All of this stuff has got to mean something. I'm not sure which is the cart, which is the horse, but I suspect that we're going to dig in pretty hardcore as to, like, number one, what's going on right this second, what's happening, how did we get here? And then, of course, we got to finish this thing out strong, talking about very specific things, actionable items that we can be doing in a market like this to win. Yeah.
100%. And keep the message out there. We got to get that message going of what's really happening. Like you said, like the news and the fear mongers are all out there and saying, here's what's going on. And it's our responsibility to our clients and to the general public to tell the truth of what's really happening and what we really see.
Amen. Brandon, what do you got?
I'm with you guys. I'm a strategy guy, so I like watching these news. There's always new strategies out there, and so we're seeing that sometimes those strategies aren't the best strategies, or sometimes the old strategies are the best strategies, right? So I think that's kind of where we're headed with this conversation is what those strategies look like and what's the result of some of those strategies.
That is so well said. So I had this conversation this week with a fellow brokerage owner, and he and I got heated, not heated at each other, but sort of heated with each other. Gosh, man, I'm so mad at myself. Like, I knew that so much of this stuff that was being said is just total bullshit. And yet here we are, right? Like, oh, great. Yeah, these are one of those things you never, ever want to be right at. Like, you never want to be right that the market is adjusting. But, when you've got a bunch of people in the marketplace that are just putting out this total propaganda saying, oh, hey, it's good to lose money, right? Like, hey, the greatest strategy of ever to build a business is to go out and raise $1.5 billion and lose every single dime of it, right? Never get profitable. Figure a way to sell your snake oil to Wall Street so that they value your company at higher than the companies that are profitable, then go public, and you get to cash out and become a billionaire while all of the moms and pops and agents that you've bamboozled into taking stock options and everything else, suddenly they're left holding the bag with a 93% reduction in their stock value. Like, that's real people's money, bro. Like, I'm so mad. Like, we knew, and yet, can I be honest? Truthfully, as I was listening to this total nonsensical pitch, there was a part of me that doubted myself.
Why?
I don't know. Like, it's Wall Street, right? Oh, it's New York City. I'm just some dude that started in the basement of his house with another guy, and we just built a company. I work every single day. I roll up my sleeves and I'm selling every single day. I'm getting smarter every day. I'm practicing every day. Like, I'm in the weeds. And all of those things are the reason why I should have had more confidence to say this guy is full of it. But I thought, well, maybe he knows something. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh
Well,
yeah.
it's a
I don't know.
point because, excuse me, I feel like as a new broker, I was that way, right? I'm studying the market. I know that I'm not as smart as everybody else, so I'm working and I'm studying harder. And then you get to the point where you become that expert, right? You are a valuable opinion, and you do have to be able to have that confidence to stand up and like you said, speak the truth and share what you know.
Yeah.
So what is
Yeah, we
the
know.
truth? What are we seeing right now, Todd? What's going on? How did we get here? And yeah, what's happening in the market?
Well, I mean, right this second, we are. So let's go back just a little bit, right? We'll look at the first quarter. And we were talking about how, hey, you know what, things feel pretty good. I think we have a tendency to look at the closed reports and what's happened sort of year to date. I think that's super important. Don't get me wrong, right? However, we also need to be very careful because whatever closed today is really a 60, 90 days ago thing, right? And so 60, 90 days ago is a completely and totally different world. I mean, think about this for just a minute. 90 days ago, we were alarmed that interest rates were in the threes. Okay. 90 days ago, we were alarmed that they were in the threes. Well, right now, today, we're over 7% interest on a 30-year fixed if you've got a 720 credit score. Whoa.
Dang.
Yeah, it's a big change.
That's a huge number. And folks, and I'm going to tell you right now, we did the math last night, my wife and I, on our house. We bought a house. We closed in January. Our interest rate was 2.5%. And under today's rates, our payment would be 62% higher.
Dang. That's crazy.
That's crazy, dude. Crazy. We probably wouldn't have pulled the trigger.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
It's a difference. And listen, let's go back to common sense. Anybody who doesn't believe that that's going to impact home values, they're wrong. I don't know how much it's going to impact them. And frankly, between you and I don't think it really matters how much the impact is. I mean, that's very much a consumer question. But every single real estate agent, which is who's listening to these podcasts, right? Every single real estate agent needs to hear me when I say what this does is it applies the emergency brake on transaction volume. So it doesn't matter what the home value is necessarily. What matters is that you're going to have fewer people willing to buy and you're going to have fewer people willing to sell, which is an additional pressure downward on the price. All of those things is common sense.
Yep. I think us as agents, we get stats in our head and we just keep telling people these exact same stats and we're not really looking into other numbers and we're not looking at the leading indicators of what's actually going to be happening. So we should have known that this was coming. If you looked at mortgage applications for the last 6 months, they've been going down. Once that happened, we know there's going to be more inventory. So we can't just say anymore, inventory is still historically low. There's going to be no problem with prices. They're just going to keep skyrocketing because that's not the case. What we're seeing right now is inventory is creeping up. And by creeping up, it's going up quite a bit in the last couple months even. So I think for us, we need to be a little bit more cognizant of these indicators that are going to be affecting our market because our inventory is just going to keep rising, man, especially with these interest rates just projected to continue to rise.
Well, and as prices are going up per property and buying power is going down, we're going in opposite directions here.
Yep. And luckily, we're still at the point where we do have enough buyers out there, and buyer demand is still high enough that prices aren't going down yet. But as we've seen in the last 2-3 months, things change quickly. We'll see where we're at 2-3 months from now.
Yeah, let me give you guys some data points here. Right. So number of transactions are down around 22%. The sales volume, and again, this number, if we're talking 30 days ago, sales volume was off about 2%. Right now, we're up about 9%. So the direction, again, this is closed. Okay, So you can begin to see the implications of some very small interest rate increases, some significant inflation at the time. But now let's look at month over month. Month over month, you've got a reduction. Oh, look at this. Increase listings taken. Listing volume taken is up 14%. Well, wait a minute. What do you mean? Yeah, that means that inventory is growing, right? The number of contracts, these are pending contracts in the month of May, down 38% year over year. Contract volume down 38% as well. Those are the leading indicators that the Rapid Realtor was just talking about, right? That tells you what's going to happen 60 days from now. And listen, I'm going to say it out loud, common sense, but that means that your business is off. Your income is likely off by 38% in 60 days.
Scary.
Let that sink in for just a second, right? 38%. What are you going to do as a real estate agent if your business declines by 38%? If your income declines by 38%? Are you prepared? Are you ready?
Most people aren't.
I
And
don't think people are either.
I mean, I'm not. I'm not expecting that. I'm going into this year saying, hey, I'm going to either match the volume I had last year or exceed it. And I think I still can, but man, that makes it challenging for sure.
So let's just be. Go ahead. No, go ahead. Brandon, go.
Yeah, you have to be making that plan and executing on a plan right now to take care of yourself later on. You need to be utilizing the tools that you have with a strategic approach and be serious about your business right now.
Amen. Right. We have to apply some common sense. Okay. I'm going to go back. I love Keeping Current Matters. So this is no slide on Keeping Current Matters. All they're doing is taking data from a bunch of really great sources and sort of aggregating them and providing them to us in a format that we can, understand and that we can communicate with our clients and our communities. But I want to go back. I'm going back to January of 2022. This is a slide that was in their market update. And it was talking, listen, this is reporting from Freddie Mac, reporting from Fannie Mae, MBA, NAR, all of them, right? All these really, really smart industry players and leaders. And they're saying, hey, listen, in the second quarter, we're in the second quarter right now. In the second quarter, the average mortgage rate is going to be 3.47%.
Oh my gosh, they were so off.
By half.
Look, in the third quarter of 2022, the average mortgage interest rate is going to be 3.6. Fourth quarter, 3.7. First quarter of 2023, 3.82. Folks, they are off by a year and by double.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get just one stat wrong like that, and you're basing all of your other information off that, it's going to change everything. I mean, they're saying, okay, interest rates are going to stay in the 3s. So of course they're thinking, hey, the appreciation is going to keep going up because buyer demand is going to still be so high. But that's not the case now. I mean, buyer demand is slowing. And for good reason. I get it. I get why.
Right. Buyer demand slowing, inventory climbing, inflation climbing, buying power falling. Listen, it's time to be common sense, and it's time to be the knowledge broker. God, I hate that term. It gets so overused, but listen, we are the ones that are in the battle every single day. I mean, in war, the general is sort of sitting back there. We need Jimmy here to kind of help us all. But like the general sitting up on top of the hill, quote unquote, right? And everybody else is in the battle, right? And so the general needs input from the people that are in the fight to determine, like, what do we do next? What do we do next? Because from up here, it's smoke, it's chaos. Like, there's all of this stuff. Great, smart guys, but they don't know exactly what's going on in the field. And I'm going to tell you right now, if we as real estate professionals do not acknowledge that this is a battle, it's coming at us right this second, and we need to be prepared. This is going to be way, way, way worse. There are nearly 2 million, or just over, 2 million real estate professionals in the United States right now. And I would say, I don't know, maybe not half of them will be gone in the next 24 months, but I bet it's close.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I would say a third for sure.
Especially if their income's going down by 38%.
Yeah,
Right.
and it's just it's gonna get tougher, and I think what we're talking about now is important because we're able to justify and say, hey, things are changing, things are getting tougher. Like, it's realistic. This is real life. This is what's really going on in the market. But hey, guess what? At the end of the day, I still think it's a good time to buy. If you're in the market to buy, it's still a great time to buy. I'm looking at saying, okay, interest rates are just going to continue to climb. Appreciation, as far as we can tell right now, because of the inventory levels, it's still going to go up. Home values are not going to go down, as far as we can tell right now. That could change, like we were talking about, in a couple months. But just based off those two things, it's like if you were thinking about buying, like, now that the inventory's softened, there's more options for you. When rates ever go down, you can refinance and you still locked in that equity gain. So I think when we say these things and we talk about how the market is changing and it's kind of scary, with that said, it's still a good time to buy. And it's a
Well,
very good time to sell.
well, and to Keenan's point, get in on the interest rate when it's at this level here. And if it goes up, then you're good. And if it goes down, you have the opportunity to refinance. So it's never going to get better than it is today, right?
Yep. What are you guys seeing in the commercial world?
Yeah. Well, let's compare and contrast, right? Like, so you look at interest rates obviously impact everybody. You've got the flexibility to adjust your interest rate if you can refi. If it goes down, that's great. Inventory goes up. Conventional wisdom tells you that the prices may come down. But if you just stay a renter, you're basically paying 100% interest, right? There's no equity there. We're not talking about like, oh, hey, I'm going to buy it today and sell it in 9 months. This is a life that we're living, right? How does that apply to commercial, Brandon?
Well, the commercial world, there's so many different aspects to it. There's the tenants, the businesses that are leasing space. There's the investors that are looking for the next opportunity to put some money in that aren't necessarily focused on the interest rate right now. So there's a bunch of different, but we're seeing the same thing in residential where all of our inventory is kind of getting chewed up. We're seeing less and less listings. We're seeing more people moving. We're seeing the different property types in all categories are moving. Smaller industrial spaces are getting harder to find. Multifamily is almost impossible to find. We're starting to see that transition from working at home to coming back to the office, and we're kind of in that state, in that middle. So we haven't really occupied all of our larger office spaces, or do we need to downgrade office space? So there's still a lot of commercial deals and transactions going on right now. We're not so focused on the interest rate right now.
Okay. So what I hear you saying is, need trumps want all the time. Like if I need an office building, I need an office building, right?
That's right.
Oh, that's kind of the same thing, right? Like if suddenly I've got a baby on the way, like I need an extra room, period. End of story. I mean, I'm not saying anything to you, Keenan, like I'm not pressuring you.
Oh, I wish, dude. As soon as wifey's ready to go, dude, we popping out kids, man. I'm ready.
I bet. Sorry, this is a serious subject, but I had to take the opportunity. Okay, so let's then talk about a seller for just a sec. Well, hold on. And again, I'm going to go through some very tactical things that we can be doing right now, but we're just trying to lay the foundation of what's really going on. And we wanted to start off by saying, hey, here's the data, here's the real data, but also let's talk about what people were saying 6 months ago, because Just because we're talking about the real data today, that's a moment in time. We can't prognosticate what's going on in the future. We don't have the crystal ball. I don't know if the prices of properties are going to go down. Common sense tells me they've got to at least stop appreciating, right? That's common sense. But I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm no longer going to stay silent, though. I'm going to tell you that right now. Common sense says, hey, at the very least, it probably will stop appreciating. That's not necessarily bad. It just means that, hey, listen, you're not buying a home just simply to make some cash. You're buying a home to have a life and build a family. You're buying a real estate investment based on the cash flow, not the appreciation. Like, we love appreciation in the commercial world. Don't get me wrong, but we can get there different ways. We can reposition the properties, and the rental rates can go up. We can have a better property management company, i.e., if you are not using Coldwell Banker Commercial Property Management, you should. There are different things that we can do to drive value in a commercial deal, but what we're really doing is buying a revenue stream. So now's a great time to buy. Either way, if you're buying a home and you have a life event that needs it, rock on. And of course, if you're a commercial investor, you're buying an income. Like, that's not it.
Yep. Oh yeah. Yeah, and I think that's one thing that people miss is people still are going to need to buy and sell houses because of life. And that's never going to stop. So we're going to continue to have lots of transactions just for that aspect, for sure.
Well, and then you look at migration as well. A lot of these markets have a lot of inflow coming in. So there's the necessity to buy.
Yeah. So walk us through, Brandon, when a market like Bozeman, for example, has got a bunch of folks from California moving into the Bozeman market, right? They're affectionately calling it Los Angeles. So when you got all these people moving in from outside the area, what is the impact in the commercial landscape?
Well, residential breeds commercial, right? So when you get a lot of people coming in, there's more commercial that needs to be there, which then in turn makes the requirement for more commercial space. So when you get migration coming in, the commercial typically goes up. The commercial need goes up. So, and same with houses, but you're looking at pricing, right? So more people coming in, there's only so much inventory on them that's available right now for, that can be acquired at the time, right? Till they build more. So the prices are going up. So it feeds the economy. It feeds the need, supply and demand, right?
Yeah, well, and it's what's super interesting, especially for those of you in some of those markets that you're seeing massive population growth, as the demographics change, as the numbers change. Suddenly, there's players outside the market that have historically said no to that market that are saying, wait a minute, right? I know Brandon is always working with different retailers and restaurateurs, et cetera, that require a certain population base in order to come into the market, a certain traffic count. And obviously he's a good person to be leaning on and having conversations with, as are all of the Coldwell Banker commercial agents. They have access to demographic information that as residential agents you just don't have, but they are super important to you. So if you have not already, you need a really, really, really strong go-to relationship with a commercial agent in this organization to be able to pick up the phone and go, hey, bro, sis, tell me the scoop.
Yep.
For sure. And going back to those leading indicators, they're the guys who can have a lot of that information that can help us paint a better picture of what's going on with the market, where we think it's going. Because if you're in a market right now and there's an influx of people coming from out of state, out of town, you're going to be in better shape than another place where a lot of people are leaving.
Yeah, wherever they're coming from.
Yep.
Just to flex on commercial a little bit, we love our tools, we love our stats, we love our numbers. So we have so many great tools that give us, when you start looking at trends, that we can really see what that market's doing. We have a much better plug-in than just what, the general public or the media can even see.
Yeah. Well, and so it's funny because I had a conversation with Jeannie Keel this morning, and we were talking about like sort of the impact of stock market and real estate market. And you know, when the stock market drops, everybody goes, oh, well, nobody's going to buy a home because they're taking stock money to buy homes or buy real estate. Well, that's not exactly how it works. I might actually look at the opposite. I might say, hey, listen, if I am looking to buy a commercial investment, if I'm looking to buy a second home or even a primary home for that matter, and I want to do it in advance, whatever, right? For whatever reason, I need some cash. The one place I'm not going to look to get the cash is my stock portfolio, because likely it's down significantly. And as we know, you sell high, not low.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm probably going to hold on. I'm just going to say, you know what, that's not where I'm going to pull money. If you're anything like me, I don't really pay attention, because that's my strategy. Is I gave my money to a really, really smart guy. Thank you, Dan. Legacy Wealth, right?
Dan Funderburk, the legend.
Funderburk, that's right. And my strategy is I give it to somebody who's really smart. They manage the money. I don't pay attention to it, because then I get myself all wound up. But I wouldn't be selling stocks right now to go buy a commercial or residential property. What I would, though, if I needed to go buy a business, or maybe I needed to buy something else, fund a college account, whatever, I might be looking to sell my real estate. Might be looking to sell my real estate to go fund that, which is, again, what we're going to dig into here now, talking about very specific tactical strategies that we need to be doing right this second to make sure that as the pie gets smaller, and a bunch of agents get washed out, whether they want to or not, that you and your family continue to eat. Everybody want to eat? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Let's eat. Let's
I enjoy
eat.
that.
Ezekiel. Dude. All right. Anything to say on that?
Lead it off.
Well, like we said before, I think you need to have a plan in place of what you're going to do and stick to that. You need to put in the work. You need to put in the strategic planning and then execute on that plan. You can't just
Amen.
hope everything's going to be great, or I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing because things are great. Well, when one of those factors changes, you need to be positioned to succeed, right?
Which
So-
they are changing.
You're my leadoff hitter, because I was always like, that's exactly right. And I did not pay him. I did not plan that. But the Real Trends Tom Ferry America's Best honorees just came out. I don't know if you guys saw this thing, but bro, we had a bunch of agents that were honored to be in the top 1.48% of the 2 million plus real estate professionals in the country. And as I was going through them, by the way, let's give them a little shout out, right? G Money, Gary Shook and his team crushing the world. Robert the Yazbek up in Steamboat Springs, absolutely lighting the world on fire. Annette Hale, Steamboat and Craig and Hayden and Grand Junction and wherever the hell else. Yeah, and everywhere else. I mean, the woman probably makes half of her money just in referral business. You got J.K. Jim Kuhn up in the Sun Valley market, who just absolutely had an incredible record-setting year. Kelly Broling Smith up in Bozeman, Los Angeles. Sorry, same thing with AG. Adam Greenberg, who is just left Coldwell Banker Distinctive Properties. I don't know if you all heard this. Brilliant social media strategy. He announced that he had a big announcement. He was going to be changing firms, and he went from Coldwell Banker Distinctive Properties to Coldwell Banker Commercial Prime Properties. It was hilarious.
Dude, I saw that and I was like, no way Adam's leaving. Like, what is he doing? What an idiot. And then I saw it. I was like, okay, good.
Right? What a great strategy, though. And then you got the big Finn, Eric Felanius up in Telluride. By the way, or down in Telluride. Well, it's up to me. Right now, like, think about this for a second. That guy is an absolute legend. He's been in the business for more than 4 decades. Hardworking, smart dude. Biggest year ever last year. Biggest year ever. And you know what they all had in common? Anybody?
They had a plan, maybe?
And they worked it. Yeah. Every single one of them did this not by accident. I mean, you're talking about coaching, you're talking about planning, you're talking about goal setting, you're talking about accountability, and they just got after it. And by the way, not one of them did any kind of like wacky, they found the silver bullet, this lead platform created, not one of them. Every single one of them crushed the world by engaging and getting in the flow of the people in their communities. End of story.
And I think another thing that's interesting to point out too is it's not just resort markets. That's resort markets, traditional markets. That's commercial. That's residential. Like it's not like there was just one sector that was just absolutely smashing it. This is all across the board.
That's a great call on that. See, Brandon, that's why we had you on this, because Keenan and I would not have picked up on that. Like
we're
needed
not smart enough. We need a commercial agent who's smart.
It's just residential people. Yeah, these residential people, you just can't really trust them. Anyway,
I'm lucky enough to be in the office around smarter people all day long, so it kind of rubs off sometimes.
Oh. The other thing is, I'm looking at that list. I think every single one of them have been around, like they saw the last downturn. And so, you know what I find is that when things get really frothy, a lot of people sort of take a nap. And they're like, oh, this is easy, no problem. The ones that remember that the saying is, you make hay while the sun shines, because the sun don't shine all the time. Right. And so, those guys and gals that have seen the market tank know that when it's going up, you better jump on, baby, and paddle harder, because the time to take a nap may very well be for those people who planned appropriately for when the market does struggle a little bit. But I'm going to talk out of both sides of my mouth here for just a minute. Let's dig into a few strategies that we can be employing right now. Mindset number one: if the pie was this big, you have to play like the pie is this big. You've got to get yourself in the mindset that it's smaller. I've got a buddy of mine, hey Carl, he's not going to watch this, so we'll talk smack about him, but he was one of 9 kids, lived up in the Sierra Mountains, and they literally had no money. And he tells a story about how, like, if you were late to dinner, man, you were messed up. Like, you did not eat. And you think about this: 9 kids, and mom would make a chicken, not chicken, a chicken, right? And she'd put that thing on the table, and you got after it, right? And if you were 1 minute late to dinner, you did not eat. And what he said was, you learn how to make one chicken go a long way, right? There literally was no meat left on that bone. There was no part of the chicken that was, too nasty to eat. Like, you just figured it out, right? And that's kind of what we have to do today, is we've got to get ourselves repurposed mind-wise to say, hey, we're really going to have to compete. We're really going to have to eat every little piece off of the bone. What y'all say?
Oh, for sure. It makes me just think about, like, every listing appointment is important. Go to every single appointment ready to hit a home run grand slam. And we need to be also, like, looking at it and saying, like, we need to create this extra business. Where's it going to come from? And part of that strategy we talked about earlier, as things start tightening up in this market, as inflation is still just running rampant, interest rates go up, people are going to need more money. And they're, like you said, they're not going to pull out of the stock market, because that'd be a foolish decision. While real estate's still high, we need to be hitting up all those people who got more than one house, that have investment properties. That is strategy number one for us to get listings.
Brandon, so, like, I'm thinking about this. Like, if I'm going to go, if I'm going to talk to somebody, what I'm feeling is, like, I need to know what the hell I'm going to say. Like, I'm not going to practice on people. I'm going to practice on myself. I love Wendy Crane this morning talking about, how she records herself and she replays it, and she spends hours and hours and hours on preparing for a 5-minute meeting. Like, that's what we should all be doing, because at the end of the day, it is curtain up and curtain down. We've got to be absolutely flawless. We've got to be prepared. We've got to have incredible listing presentations that we know backwards and forwards. We've got to be able to provide great value and not screw up any opportunity, not miss one little morsel of meat off of the bone.
I think being in contact with your database is really big with that too. Knowing your clients and knowing what their goals are, knowing what's going on in their lives, so that you can help, guide them to where they're trying to get to. You can be that knowledge broker.
And be the solution and be able
Yeah.
to say, hey, I know that where you guys are at right now, and I know the business you're in is probably struggling right now. Have you guys ever thought about selling your second property? Boom, you just solved a huge problem for them. They can now actually live their life and feel comfortable.
Well, and even in the commercial world, are you in an office space that's too big? Do we need to find you something that's smaller for right now? Does it make more sense to get into a smaller space and save that money?
Being proactive. Yeah, on the
Yep.
commercial side, being proactive and having those conversations right now as you see the beginning of the slowdown. They may not acknowledge it. And by the way, I just need to take a moment here. We've got 15 offices in 5 states, and we've got an incredible group of incredible agents. I would venture to say that most brokerages, we just have access to a much broader look, and we've got some leaders in our space and some data hounds, if you will, in our space. That gives us an insight that most brokerages probably just don't have, and they're probably not having these conversations. So you will be first to the table. You'll be first to the table here when you have these conversations. And as you call people and you're saying, hey, listen, Keenan, how are you? What's happening? The market's changing. What a trip. Do you have any plans? Do you have any struggles? What's going on? Can you do me a favor? Can you take the pressure off of your shoulders to have an answer right then? Keenan is perfectly capable of saying, hey, bro, this is what's going on. This is what I'm dealing with. And you can simply say, you know what, Keenan, can you do me a favor? I'm going to call you tomorrow. All right. Let me think about this because I think I might have some ideas. And then take a moment, go call somebody, go sit with Olin, call Jeff Renevere, go have a conversation with Keenan or me or Brandon or whatever, right? Some people that may have seen something that you haven't. And go back with a really thoughtful response. Take the pressure off of you.
Well, and
Love it.
how much better do you look when you can tell your client, hey, I don't have the answer right this second, but you know what? We have some really good experts in that area. Let me go give him a call and call you back tomorrow and see what they're seeing or see what they think is the best route here. So
It makes our team look better, and it makes us look like more knowledgeable rather than just giving a BS answer of, well,
Right.
prices are just going to keep going up because inventory is so low. And that's what everyone's saying.
Or, hey, I'm going to blow smoke just to make sure that I look good. Well, hey, here's a better idea. Why don't you actually go to the experts that we have in our company and actually give some value, right? Doesn't that seem more beneficial to the client?
100. All right, let me dig into another one. So you guys touched a little bit on past clients, sphere of influence. Absolutely should have a phone call absolutely with every single person right this second. If it used to be 10, you should be making 30 connections a day. That should be your one and only deal. People are scared. People are uncertain. People have got some plans in their lives that might have just been altered. Get on the phone. Buyers. I want to talk about buyers for one second really fast. So there's 2 sections of buyers that I'd be really focused on right now. Number 1 are the ones that you're currently working with. It's time to get them requalified. It's time to get them requalified. The payment has gone up. Bottom line, Dave Ramsey just shot a video about this yesterday. Truthfully, your buyer who could afford a $2,000 payment can now no longer afford the homes that you were looking at 30 days ago, right? You've got to get them requalified and figure out, hey, listen, which segment of the market are we looking at? What's the actual price point that we're looking for? You got to figure out what are the offers. I'd have a very, very structured presentation with them. Let's sit down. I'd schedule it with whether it be on Zoom or in person with my preferred mortgage partner to go through what the payment actually is. I talk specifically about, hey, here's the price point now. Let's talk about what offers are winning in that deal. Let's go through a purchase and sale agreement right now. Let's make sure that we agree on the strategy. And then hear me, okay? There's all kinds of talk about what's going on with the lawsuits, et cetera, about how buyers agents will be paid. You don't need to worry about any of it if one thing takes place for you, and that is you have a buyer's representation agreement signed and in the file. You don't need to worry about any of the other conversations. It's all distraction. Your value is only going to grow as the market continues to change. Okay, you let Zillow go Zillow. Okay, last I checked, they're down 91% from their peak. Okay, you let Zillow deal with Zillow stuff. They're dealing with a totally different deal. Compass is dealing with a totally different deal. Redfin's dealing with a totally different deal. Keller Williams is dealing. They are all on this track that losing money is acceptable. That is not how we roll. And that is not how your clients roll. Just saying. And then the second piece is all of those people who have just got exhausted as buyers. You know what, Todd? I'm out. I can't deal with this nonsense anymore. I've lost like 14 offers. I just can't do it. You need to call every single one of them and say, yo, the market's changing. It's going to get easier for buyers. Isn't this exciting? Yes, interest rates have gone up, but because there's because there's going to be fewer buyers in the market, there's likely to be able to actually get an inspection or two, right? So anyway.
Yeah,
What do you guys
and
think?
off that, I mean, it's like, okay, say your buyer was pre-qualified at 400,000, couldn't find anything, offer after offer after offer. They're thinking, well, now the interest rates are higher, so now I have no chance. But actually, that's not the case, because now they're looking, say, more in the 350 price point, which in our market, now there's so many more listings. They'll probably end up finding a nicer house at 350 right now than they were going to find at 400 because there was only 2 active listings. So I think having that conversation with them is huge.
And they might have conceded before just to get something where now they can actually shop around and find what they actually want. To Keenan's point, you might find a better house than you were making offers on before.
Yeah, for sure, right? Expireds. Everybody goes, what are you talking about? There's no expireds. Yeah, there are, and there are going to be more. We're already seeing price changes, price drops. Holy schmoly. And what happens when, I don't want to talk too much smack here, but when agents get into the froth of it all, right? They forget the years that we would get a listing agreement for 1 year. Okay,
Yep.
a 1 year listing agreement. Well, why would you ever do that today? Because it lasts. I mean, I can get a 24-hour listing agreement, right? Well, those days are changing, and you do have agents that have taken 1 month, 2 month, 3 month listing agreements, and the market is changing, and the prices are changing. And boy, I tell you what, if you price it too high, you're going to have to chase the market down, and the properties are going to get stale, and stale properties are expired. There, you have to be first. Okay, so
Yep.
7 a.m. call. This is your wake up call. Sorry, Keenan, you're gonna have to get out of bed earlier. Huh?
Keenan's like 7 a.m.
What?
No chance.
No. Yeah, no chance. You got to know what to say, right? Like I'll give you a really simple one. Hey, I did some research. I was online. I checked some things out. I have some ideas about why your property didn't sell. Give me a call. Right? That can be in a pop by. That can be in a voicemail. You name it. And then the last one is Real Vitalize, folks. If you do not know Real Vitalize inside and out, and know how to use it and deploy it quickly, it's a game changer. Paint, carpet, staging, some landscape work. Like these are things that are going to become even more and more and more important to be the chosen listing. Remember when we used to have those conversations?
Oh yeah.
It's coming, folks. And Real Vitalize is a product that nobody else has. And by the way, agents are not going to use their own money to go paint and carpet a house when the market is struggling. Use Real Vitalize.
Oh yeah. Based on what you said about expireds, I think that's a really, really great point. A lot of people have been signing 2-3 month listing agreements just because they want to make sure they get the listing. With that, in the next month or so, we are going to see a lot more expireds. And I think that if you are a listing agent right now dealing with a listing that's taking a little bit while to sell, and you guys maybe did price it too high because it's not your fault. I mean, the market just shifted quickly. I think you need to have those conversations with your sellers and just be real with them and tell them, show them what's going on so you can still sell that, because it's still a great market right now. It's still a seller's market. Every listing should sell, and if it's not selling, it's price, or you got to do some of these other things like Real Vitalize. Price reductions is the biggest one. Staging, make sure your marketing's on point. No more cell phone pictures. It's not going to get the job done anymore.
I was going to hit on the marketing too. I think as there's more inventory, you need to stand out and have the professional grade marketing that we have available at our office. Like you need to have it professionally marketed. The days of
we talk about this all the time, right?
24 hours is,
Yeah. Well, and we talk about it all the time. You are your brand, right? Everything that you put out is your brand. The way you dress, the condition of your hair. You guys have got beards. Like if you looked like a terrorist, it's probably going to impact your business, right? So you guys are well groomed and that kind of stuff. Your marketing, your knowledge, the preparation that you put into meetings, is your car washed? Like you are your brand, period. So you got to be really, really careful of how you're putting that off. And certainly marketing is 1000% cell phone videos. I mean, come on. Folks, those people are going to be the casualties. Good news is that obviously at Distinctive and Prime Properties, we do it all for you.
Yes, and if you're not doing marketing packages, you are an idiot.
We have
come on, everybody
that are doing it for you.
Yeah, everybody's doing marketing packages, bro. I mean, I can't imagine that there's anybody not doing marketing packages.
Yeah, if they're not, they ain't here.
Yeah. All right, so let's do a couple of other things. I'm going to group this one just for the sake of time, and I group this all together. Community, being out into the community. So a couple of ideas. Number one, open houses. I know Keenan loves open houses. By the way, bro, I was going back through some old clips and you were talking smack about open houses. Do you remember the open house that you did next door to my house in Grand Junction?
Yeah, I had like 40 people come through. No, open houses work, and I'm definitely going to have to start doing them again because they are going to be important again. And the last couple of years they weren't as much, but yeah, I think you're spot on. It's going to be huge.
It was loco land. I can remember, like, it looked like a parking lot. Anyway, but community involvement. For me, that means just being out and about. So open houses, little events, ice cream, nothing huge. I'm not talking about massive money. I'm talking about like driving connection. We're post COVID. We spend so much time on Zoom and everything else. Like, I want to go hug someone's neck, right? I'm talking about highlighting a business. This is huge in commercial, right? Highlight businesses and say, hey, listen, I'm going to pump you out to all of my people. I'm going to drive some business to you. We all, at no time in history that I can remember, has any business needed your network more than it does right now. Can we get an amen on that one?
Amen.
Right. And at no point can I ever remember that we didn't need their referrals more than we need them right now. Can I get an amen on that?
Amen.
So anyway, community involvement. I don't know what that looks like to you. Like, that could be a charitable cause. It could be a business highlight. It could be open houses. It could be going to an event. Don't be a secret agent, right? Like, wear a CB hat, wear a, ask me about real estate shirt, wear your name tag, whatever it is. Don't go in there all bashful. I don't want to be salesy. You are a salesperson. They need you.
Yeah, I think it's just leveling up, man. We all need to step it up and take it to the next level if we want to keep our income from falling 38% this year. And it's doing all that. It's all the stuff we know, but doing it to another level.
That's right.
Todd, I got to see you give a little presentation this week, and you talked about having your name and contact information on your car. So everywhere you go, you're a walking advertisement. I literally got back to town, and my wife has a magnet on her car for her business. And
brilliant.
Yeah.
Well,
brilliant.
She's a smart woman. I mean, obviously she's a smart woman. She,
right?
She wouldn't be with you if she was not smart. Right?
that statement may be questionable.
I love it. No, but listen, I mean, we got to talk about. I'm glad you brought that up, because this is sort of a contentious piece. And for those of you in the Wood River Valley, you remember this, right? But I had a pretty obnoxious car, and I put my name on it. And boy, I tell you what, you want to talk about some looks like. Here's the thing, that $250 logo on my car that had my company logo, my name, realtor, right, and my phone number on it. made me more than $30,000 a year. I'm just saying it, right? I'm just going to say it out loud. And people are like, oh, I could never do that. Why not? Well, because that just seems, so arrogant. Yeah, I'm not buying that. Like every plumber, every contractor, every landscaping company, like they use it. It's called advertising, right? So like it's not arrogance. I mean, this is not an arrogant thing. Well, people would laugh at me. That was not my experience, right? I mean, I'm sure there were people that laughed behind my back, but it was behind my back. I didn't know anything about it. That ignorance is bliss. Let's see. Oh, I do say that you have to drive differently. Okay, like there's no longer like speeding through the neighborhood, doing 40 in a 25 school zone, right? Like, you get the finger wag, you get a phone call. You can't park, and don't even get my wife started. She's not watching this anyway, but she's got a great story about me parking in the wrong spot. Let's see. You're not going to cut anybody off. You're going to be very, very friendly. Hey, by the way, all those things are good things. Last I checked, make you a better person. All right.
Level
like
up.
That. Level up, right? But if you want to make money and you want people to know that you are in real estate, and not only that you're in real estate, but you are an actually committed real estate agent, that's an incredible way to do it. Can I give you one other one? Just as I know we're totally running long on time, but it always cracks me up. I can tell the committed real estate professional versus the part-time hobbyist simply by calling their voicemail. Do you know why? You're not gonna even help me out?
No,
Because
don't know.
if they actually recorded a voicemail, or if you just get the standard.
Well, that one's brilliant, right? You have reached 208. No, yes, that's that one. But then there's the other one that's right. It's like, hi, it's Todd. You know what to do. Versus, hi, you've reached the voicemail of Todd Conklin with Coldwell Banker Distinctive Properties and Coldwell Banker Commercial Prime Properties. Sorry that I've missed you. Please leave me a detailed message and I will get right back to you. If you'd like a faster response, you might consider texting me. Make it a great day, right? That's professional. That's committed, because now I'm telling every single person that will call me that I'm a real estate professional.
Yeah, and again, level up. We got to take everything to the next level. Check these things. Check your have you washed your car? Check your Instagram profiles, your social profiles. Make sure they're updated. Stand apart from all these other agents who got into the business because it's been easy money.
Brandon, give us a go-to. Close it out for us, dude.
I would just say use the tools that you have. Take advantage of the platforms and leverage your brand. I would say that's going to be the distinguished, or the differentiator between us and everybody else. Sorry.
I like how you tried to put distinctive in there. I appreciate that.
Oops.
Oops, right? Hey, listen, guys, it's about back to the basics. It's about common sense. It's about doing the easy things over and over and over. Do not overthink this. Remember, if the business goes down 38%, but 38% of the agents get washed out, then the amount of business available to you is still the same. You've got to make sure that you are first to the table and that you compete mightily to get your fair share of dinner, right? Don't be late to the party. Do it right now. Do the basics really well and have an incredible business, and be the one not surviving this market, thriving in this market. Amen?
Amen.
And change lives.
Yeah. And change lives. All right, folks, thank you so much, Brandon. I really appreciate you. Keenan, the kid, the rapid realtor, appreciate you. And hey, folks, as always, be distinctive.